right, thank you for watching, and here's another new video from me. I know last time the video series you watched from me was about language and words, time and space, and all that led me to a very interesting direction, without any force, without any influences, without any influences through environments, people, whatever, whatnot. So thank you for watching this. What I'm about to talk today is something very interesting and very, I would say, unique in some fields. Is that, first of all, you have to know, as you guys know, I work for UPS night shift, and most of the time after that I'm by myself, which I really love. I love to be just with myself. And for me, that's the most joy, to be with myself and discover things. So I also want to say that in our there is a spirit, there is a force within us, in mankind, that if you are aware of it, it leads you without any force, without any method, without any technique, without any training, whatever, all this nonsense stuff. The force, the spirit itself, leads you where it wants you to lead. So this video is also, I don't have any lines, rehearsals. I mean, you see a lot of papers I'm drawing and etc. and calculating. But I can tell you that I saw a video accidentally on the internet, and there was a Dr. Physicist. He was drawing a diagram on the screen. Diagram, a space-time diagram, how to calculate a warp curve, meaning in space how you calculate in the acceleration of an object, of a matter, how you calculate a curve in the space, a warp curve. And when he started drawing it, and I would say within 3 minutes, he wasn't even finished to draw with it, I recognized that he's actually drawing a three-dimensional leaf on a two-dimensional paper with a zero-dimensional pen. So I recognized that what he is explaining was actually a leaf, the structure of a leaf. And I found it very interesting that a lot of physicists, scientists, uses a space-time diagram actually in a structure or in a form from a leaf. I was instantly, it really, that insight in an instant when he drew it was, I stopped the video. It was just like 3 minutes, and I have to tell you that I have never studied physics, mathematics, or science, whatnot. So I was really interested because I saw something that a professor, a Dr. Physics professor, was explaining how curved, a warped curved travel, how you calculate that in time and space. So I figured out that he was actually drawing a three-dimensional leaf on a two-dimensional paper with a zero-dimensional pen. I found it so interesting that it grabbed my attention to time and space and how to calculate things. So what I'm telling you right now is from how I went along from instance to instance in between 3-4 weeks, like really bam, 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 bam. And so I had that leaf in my head, and I was thinking about, okay, so he was explaining a curved warp acceleration in space according to a leaf. So I was looking at a leaf, and I looked at the structure of the leaf, and then I saw that he was drawing this time and space diagram, and the acceleration of the warp matter object that flies in the air. The time and space together gives the coordination, the location of this object here. So when I looked at the leaf, then instantly the whole leaf became a flower or plant in my head. So I was thinking about, is it really about it most physicists and scientists are actually explaining how a plant works, and that everything, a lot of ideas, what they have, thesis, is actually from a plant or from a tree. So then I figured out, which I will tell you later on a little bit, because I don't want to jump too fast. So then I was interested in how they calculated it. So anyway, so I bought a block of paper, a ruler, a triangle ruler, and different colors of pencils, and I was drawing his diagram. And while I was drawing this diagram, let me just show you how everything comes from one instance to instance. So I was at the leaf, so he was explaining the warp curved in space. We calculated through time and space gives the exact point of the object or the matter that accelerates in the space in the universe. So I know that time and space is are very important coordinates to do that. So while I was drawing then a diagram, space-time diagram on a piece of paper, instantly what happened to me is I saw the whole world in lines, vertical and horizontal lines. And with that thought, I knew that, I just know it from the airplanes, that they give those coordinates to the plane pilot to set the location where they're at. So from that I discovered, or not I discovered, it exists, but from that leaf, I jumped to the whole global planet, which has also this kind of similarities of a diagram from a leaf on our planet, which are the scientists work with it. The weather scientists, economics, and so on, that they use actually also two coordinates to locate any place on planet Earth. And those two coordinates are longitude and latitude. So latitude goes from north to south, and the longitude goes from east to west. So all longitudes together are 360 degrees. And if you flatten that out, it looks like a chessboard, right? So when it's flattened out on the chessboard, you see those coordinates, the latitude and the longitude, and you can locate it exactly where the object is on this location. Object, matter, whatever it is. So you need those two coordinates to locate something on planet Earth. So I was thinking about, So how? So I was thinking about this. There was the next jump, and I learned very quickly what it's all about: longitude and latitude. So the planet Earth has a 360 degree, and each degree. Well, and the planet Earth has north, south, east, west, and then have the 0 point from equator in the Greenwich in Great Britain. So we have then also the 90 degrees in the sphere, and the 360 all around it. And then I figured out that 1 degree, from 1 degree to the next degree, let's say from 0 degree to 1 degree, is actually 69 miles. Between 1 degree and to the next degree is 69 miles of field. And what I also know is that a degree, 0 degree to 1 degree, or from 1 degree to 2 degree, or from 46 degree to 47 degree, from degree to degree, it's 60 miles, 69 miles, and has a time relation from 60 minutes from degree to degree. So then I was thinking about it, everybody has a watch on the wrist. So I figured more and more out that we have different time calculations, different time systems. They're all somehow interrelated. So I know now that our planet Earth has a 360 degree all the way around. It has longitude and latitude, and between each crossing longitude and latitude is 69 miles, and it's 1 degree, and this 1 degree has 60 minutes, and if you cut the 1 degree down, you have 60 seconds. Now if you hear all these numbers, it reminds you a lot on your clock watch, and also you figured out that there's something that works all together. So then when I figured that all out, and really amazing, astonishing that actually you can see planet Earth like a chessboard, and it has all its coordinates, and north, west, east, south. And then I was interested how the planet system surrounds our planet Earth. So I figured that also out, how the sun rises up, the sunrise, the sunset, in what degree, in what angle it shines to our planet Earth, in a 40 degree, in a 45 degree angle, etc., etc. And as more I got into it, I figured out that something happens inwardly in me. There's a change taking place in a positive way. And I figured out my whole observation, my whole look at things changed totally. So I was drawing, figuring things out, calculate things, etc. So I know that the Earth has these coordinates, longitude and latitude, and which the airplanes or the astronauts, satellites operates on the Earth, and they can locate everything according to those two coordinates, minutes and seconds on planet Earth. So I was thinking, so I was zooming in, and then I was looking at the cities. Especially big cities have always the same structure of a city map where you can get everywhere. Like when you're a tourist and you want to know how the city looks like, you get the city map. And when you look at the city maps, it's really also is really like mostly symmetric, located in those chess forms, in these blocks. They call it blocks here, 1 block, 2 block, 100 block. So everything is 1 block and everything is accurate. So I was thinking about when they can do this from the sky, then we can do this also within ourselves in the cities. And then I figured out that all these calculations you can actually do in your daily life too, when you're in big towns. because everything is like a square, and the blocks, one block and one block, and then you have your traffic cross, right? Traffic cross looks like this, right, on the street. So you can use the traffic cross as your diagram to calculate things, time and space, in our daily living. And then I found it really, really interesting. So I was really getting into it because it was, I felt inside there is everything interconnected with time, zone, degrees, sun, the moon, the planets, planet Earth, and all that, and all the different calculations from each of them of each of those fields, but they're all working together. And so I was really amazed by it and what you can really calculate according to that stuff. So I was thinking further. So, and we know, so I was thinking further, and somehow, and that's, again, some force, some spirit in me, lead me to a mathematician, physicist, and astronomer. His name is Johannes Kepler. I never heard about him, but somehow it points me to it. Wait, before I go into it, then I want to say is that I figured out that a lot of stuff has to do actually with geometry. And then I was thinking about what tools do you use for geometry? And you need that, I don't know how you call it in English, I'm sorry, the thing you can point on the paper and then you can draw circles with it, that tool. And the interesting thing is that tool, the only, whatever it is, has this symbol as their symbol. So and that symbol, what I saw, and this is what I'm trying to explain, there was no force or whatever, and I'm not into it, I'm just saying, the symbol to make geometry was this tool. I don't know how you call it in English. You can draw circles and stuff like that. I saw this tool on a organization, group, like any other religion, on the Freemasons. And I never heard about Freemason. I don't know what it is, and I don't want to go into it because I have nothing to do with it. I just found it interesting that this symbol is their symbol. So then I was thinking about, what I figured out is that as more I was studying and discovering by myself planet and Earth, how they work together, and the sunrise and time, degrees on 360 degrees on Earth, and the sunset, etc., and time, the time, space, degree working really interrelated to each other. And by more discovering it out, I felt that I was gaining some other kind of knowledge, and that knowledge gave me some joy. Like when I wanted to explain things, I could only explain it in the kind of a poetry or in a saying, because it's just joy. Sorry, joy. So in my amusement and joy with playing with the toys in the heaven, I call it, so by toys I mean the stars, the planets, the moon, the earth, the sun, calculating, etc., experiencing and all that, I figured out that we all have also, but back to the Freemason before I jump to that. So I figured out that this symbol has the Freemasons as their main symbol. The thing you can do the circles. And then I was asking myself, how come that I never heard about this group, this organization? Because during our life, when we was a little kid, they put us a stamp on it and it says you Catholic, or you Baptist, or you Christian, or you Lutheran, or you're Orthodox, or whatever, or you this and that. When you're a child, and you can even not say, no, I don't want that. So that, first of all, they should stop doing this. Like, when a child was born, say, okay, you Catholic, whatever. And also, I was thinking about how comes it I never heard about Freemason, Freemason. I said it then, Freemason. And then when I looked all the years back, I'm 40 now, and you always hear about the Catholics, the Christians, the Muslims, the Islam, and all they try to sell books, tell you this story, and buy these books, and do this and this, and what I figured out, Freemasons, I never heard of them, and they never said, "Do come to us," whatever, blah blah blah. So something in that discoveries leads me in this Freemason thing. I still don't know what it is, and I know, as everybody knows, I don't believe in any YouTube bullshit or Facebook bullshit what they make, and I don't believe in any conspiracies, because conspiracies and all that is what comes up because people have too much time and don't know what to do, and then they create stories, etc., etc. But that's just my opinion. So I was wondering, I was asking myself, how do they know that? No, I was asking myself then, do Freemasons know what that geometry is actually a tool from God to see things how He works? That's what I was asking myself. And I was working at night as usual, and I was always asking this question myself: do the Freemasons know themselves with the tool, the circle they can do? Or I do it, or I know it only and they don't know. So I was asking myself all the time, how can I find out? And during this occupation, by asking myself, after night shift, I went back home and I slept. And then I had a dream that I was in a Freemason room with peoples, and I saw a box on the bottom, and in this box was a man. I know it sounds weird, but in this dream I was in a Freemason society, or in a room, or whatever it was. It was more like a closed society, closed room, and there were a lot of people that were like questioning. I could read their thoughts and questioning and all that, and I saw that there was a box on the ground, and in this box was somehow a man in there, like it was a very holy thing, because everybody was standing around it, and they were all interested what I have discovered. Because my question was all the time, do they know what this geometry tool, you can do circles, what it really means? And I talked with them, but I don't know how it ended, but it gave me the feeling that they must know something, which is not secret at all, because I know it too. So I figured out that geometry is a language from the universe, from the God, from the Lord, whatever, you can name whatever name you want, is a tool that if you understand geometry, that you see His whole beauty on the planet Earth, how He designed everything. So then, during more and more investigating into it, discovering, observation, and all that, I felt more and more joy into me. And I mean, you guys saw it yourself in Facebook. I wrote stuff into it, my drawings and all that, my poetry, because you cannot explain it. And then I was thinking about how wonderful His work is, what He's done. And here's another thing. There is so much. What you have to say, what you have to understand is, this is why I'm coming to it. Somehow I came to a very revolutionary scientist, mathematician, physicist. His name is Johannes Kepler. And when I saw him and I was reading his quotes, and I felt like in him was the same spirit, the same force, what I feel right now, because I understood his whole quotes. what he's writing. And it gave me a confirmation that I'm on the right way, that I am exactly there where he was or where he is or whatever. And so I was interested in Johannes Kepler, and as more and more I read his quotes, I understood it, but his quotes is also in kind of a poetry, in kind of a psalms, but I understood this language. So I was really interested in it, and I figured very similarities between my discoveries and his discoveries. And he got it also then from Isaac, similarities with Isaac Newton and Toche, all these scientists. So what I want to say is, what I figured out is that in our whole history, there are always a certain people that occurs. You cannot predict them, but there are certain people occurs in our history. They have the talent to understand and how to play with God's toys, or how to translate the heaven language and bring it down to the man's language. That's how I can only explain this transformation. So I was getting more and more into it, and I find so much joy, and I see things now differently, because I see how time, space, the degrees, sun, the planet, the earth, how everything operates. It's like you see it with God's eyes, so to speak, or you see through the eyes of God. And the eyes of God is geometry, and you look through geometry now. Everything it's really amazing and interesting. So, and the other thing is, I understand much more now about science, physicists, and all that. And I figured out that in certain people like Isaac Newton, Johannes Kepler, Mozart, Beethoven, Leonardo da Vinci, those are those people, I'm telling you, they occur out in our history, and they understand the knowledge of the heavens, and they try to translate it in the mankind's understanding. That's the only way how I can explain. So, oh, and I have so much things to tell what I've discovered, and it's really amazing. And then it's like I feel like I can just explain you how I feel from this joy, what is in me. There's a joy. It's like if I'm asking myself a question and I go sleep later on, I know that the dream will give me an answer to it. I'm just telling you how it is, how intense everything is. And the other thing is, it's like it's like I'm walking a street, and I'm surrounded by 1 dimension, 0 dimension, 2 dimension, 3 dimension, and I can interrelate with those others and take out from the 3 dimension, put it in 1 dimension, take the 0 dimension, put it in 1 dimension, take something from 2 dimension, put it out in 3 dimension. It's like I'm operating like this, and it's like click. Let me tell you another example. So then I heard from my coworker that they found out that Einstein theory was correct about this gravity and those 2 holes where everything soaks in, and how everything gravity operates through these 2 holes. And now let me show you something, how my thought operates. So I saw that picture, I saw these 2 black holes, and around all the stars, the planets. When I saw that, instantly in my head I thought there are 2 holes from a nose. So I was thinking about maybe that's God's universe nose, and the breath what comes out of his nose is all the stars, all the dark matter, everything what is in his breath. And that's how the stars came out, and then all the planets. And when I came to these planets, then it reminded me the confirmation when Jesus says in a parable about the sower and the seed, and he says on each ground, and on one ground it found fruit and everything. And I was thinking about the different grounds he was talking about when God breathes in and out, and it makes sense now when I don't know where it says that our life is like a breath of God, or we live in the breath of God, is what God breathes out of his nose, all what is inside the breath, the stars, the solar systems, air, electrons, protons, whatever what is in there is, so to speak, breathing out, and it strikes to all planets and stars and all grounds, which I told you about, the sower and the seed, the parable from Jesus. And then it hit our planet Earth. And that planet Earth is the good soil, what Jesus was talking about. But this is all my theories right now. I just want to show you how everything in my head works instant like this transformation. And then I was thinking about, but how can that be confirmed, that our planet, that all his breath came to our planet Earth, and that was the good soil. It brought out fruits, 60 times fruits, that's our planet, but all the other planets was not good. So the breath was only good, and it's constant on our planet Earth, so that's why our planet Earth has so many plants, flowers, etc. That's the good soil. When Jesus was talking the parable about the sower and the seed. And I was thinking about what else gives the confirmation. And then and what I'm telling you right now, it seems like 10, 20 minutes. All that happens in one instant. So then it came to me, my picture, a famous scientist, mathematician, painter, Leonardo da Vinci. The famous picture when a man and a woman standing like this in the circle. It's a very famous painting, and this gave me the confirmation that Leonardo da Vinci confirms that mankind, because for me mankind, it just exists. Man is divided by female and male, like a cat. You don't say man's cat or woman's cat. It's